Hello, hi, Fremont Lee here. McKnight Day, Day's Night, and McKnight's Day. My first book. Um, Chapter 1. This was before I found the page setting button. This is Day's Night. There's two different stories in it. When I wrote this, it was something to occupy my time, trying to wait before I had to clock into work, and so I spent time doing it. And it was like I was then I was told, "Oh yeah, you can do this on the thing." Okay, cool. The reason there's a horse on the back was because I was looking through their um, through KDP's selection of photos. Nothing really fit, uh, which is the reason why that's me on the cover from a coffee cup, trying to hide my face that it's me, which is me on the back. I covered the coffee cup I was using because copyright. I didn't want to have anyone go over this thing, which is why it's blacked out front. They're not the greatest story, but when I wrote it, I was picturing it as a TV show or a TV movie, which is why I've corrected some of it, and because I didn't have anyone edit it. The second one I did, and somebody that she cut out part of the thing was like, "Oh, this isn't really needed," and I was like, "Yeah, okay, I can see that." So I'll just mention that whatever. It started off like I should read the back of the book for you. Simon Day quit the police force because he was tired of all the red tape he had to go through, so he chose to become a private detective. Peter McKnight served in the Marine Corps and retired. Looking for work, he chose what closely resembled what he did in the Marines. A chance meeting at the horse track. They were the only two that bet on a horse to win. After finding out what the other did for a living, they decided to partner up in the detective business with their own agency. Simon works from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Day's night. Peter works from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. unless they're both on the same case, which sometimes happens. I don't think that's a racehorse, but I could be wrong. But as I said, that's like the little backstory. Tuesday, 9:17 p.m. I'm going to read it as I wrote it, not or as it's been typed up, not as I've corrected. I'm sitting at my desk in my new office above a workout facility. The old office on the other side of town was getting a little cramped. There's only a 12 by 12 room with a desk, filing cabinet, sofa, and 2 chairs. My partner and I had to share the desk. It was getting on my nerves, never being able to find something I'd put in the drawer. Plus, he'd work my crossword puzzles. I don't like that. So I suggested we find a bigger place. We now each other have our own desks. How's that typo? We now have our own desks, sofa, filing cabinet, and bathroom. Currently, I'm keeping busy working the crossword puzzle in the newspaper. I'm not sure what newspapers are thinking, placing the answer key on the same puzzle on the same page. Whatever happened to posting the answer in tomorrow's paper? Am I questioning the logic of newspapers today? My desk lamp light burns out. Startles me. Since I am unable to work the puzzle in the dark, I get up and retrieve a new bulb from the supply room. It's the last one. On my way back to the desk, I get a refill of coffee and toss the empty light bulb package into the recycle bin. The daytime detective, Peter McKnight, used up the last of the coffee grounds, so I had to reuse the old ones. Makes for lousy coffee, but unless I'm on a case, I really shouldn't leave the office. McKnight, piece of work. He broke his arm and won't tell me how. It was work related, is all he'll say. He likes coffee as much as I do, so I'm not sure how he would forget to buy another canister. I change out the bulbs in the office and is once again illuminated. That's much better. Taking a sip of coffee. This, on the other hand, without the light or case to solve, the night would feel longer. One of the reasons I work the crossword puzzles. Unlike television programs, private detectives don't solve a murder every week. We're lucky if we get a case once a month. It's a little sad that the only cases we have been getting lately are the kind where one spouse thinks the other is cheating. Is this what we've been lowered to? Sure, it's enough to pay the bills and put food on the table, but seriously, what kind of life is that? Sure, there are days. I switched back from first person to third, so I'm so apologize. Sure, it's enough to. Sure, there are days Simon feels like shit with what he does, but he's not the one that thinking his spouse is cheating on him. He takes another sip of coffee. The look on his face says it all. This coffee is terrible. As bad as it was, Simon takes another sip. I've had worse. At the moment, the power goes out. He looks outside and notices the street lights are still on. He walks to the window and sees that the lights on the building across the street are also still on. So are the lights in the gym downstairs. Not a citywide power outage, just the office. He checks the breaker box. Everything is in the on position. He thinks to himself, the gym pays the bills and I've paid them. So why don't I have power? Simon walks down to the gym to see if the owner was there. He usually is at night. Sure enough, there he is, wiping down the equipment with some kind of sanitizer. This was before all this pandemic thing with stuff. But in a workout facility, that's what you do. Because you don't know the person that used it before you. Hey, Johnny, how's your night going? Johnny wasn't too thrilled to see Simon, but after shutting off his power, he knew Simon would eventually show up, or would show up eventually. Checking his watch, took you 10 minutes to figure out I was the one that turned your power off? Some detective. Actually, it took me less than a minute. The stairway light is on my power box, so without that light, I took extra caution making my way down. It was about 2 minutes for that. Once outside, the guy that pretends to be homeless asked me for money. I told him that I work for a living and don't make enough to just give it away to someone asking for a handout. He cursed me out as he walked over to his BMW, got in, and drove off. All I could really do with that was shake my head and think, what a messed up time we're living in. So that is what took me 10 minutes. Johnny rolls his eyes out loud. Yeah, great. He started mumbling to himself, and Simon is pretty sure that Johnny's just called him a friggin' moron. What's that? Simon inquired. Johnny lets out an audible sigh and says angrily, what can I do for you, detective? I'd like my power turned back on, please. I shut it off because that's what happens when you don't pay your bill. 2 months ago, when I signed my lease, I paid ahead an estimated amount for 6 months, just by chance that if cases were few, I wouldn't have to worry about it. I have no record of that. We did it off the books because you needed money for some equipment for the gym. Workout facility. Same thing. Yeah, well, those weights were stolen and you never found them, and whoever took them. Well, I was never hired for that. Had I been, I'd have found them, those responsible, and brought the equipment back. Yeah, I'm surprised you can find your way down a flight of stairs. Not that I think you could find them, but if I did hire you for that, what would you charge me? If I find the responsible party and get the equipment back, I'd like my power turned back on, plus an additional 6 months free electricity. And if you don't, what's in it for me? I'll pay the workout facility's electric bill for 6 months. You've got yourself a deal. Okay? They shake on it. It's been 1 month since you noticed the weights were missing. Yeah, it's the day after we opened. Do you have surveillance footage or a sign-in sheet for that day? I have both. They're in the office. He points to the door behind the service desk. He leads the way. I can give you the sign-in sheet. That's in the filing cabinet. But I'll need to log on to the computer for the footage. Okay, while you log on, I'll look over the sign-in sheet. Johnny opens the top drawer to the filing cabinet and pulls out a stack of papers. Handing all of them to Simon, he begins turning on the computer. Simon begins flipping through the papers to the day before the weights were discovered missing. He does a quick scan. We'll need the footage between hours. We'll need the footage for the hour between 10 and 11 p.m. That's highly specific. Why then? Simon shows Johnny the sheet. Unless the real Justin Verlander showed up to work out. Johnny types in the date and time, then presses play. We gave away free workout tote bags to celebrate our grand opening. We still have some left. Sorry to hear that. Pause it right there. I believe that's the culprit. Why? The jersey he's wearing, and it's this. The jersey he's wearing, and it's the same time that's written down. Johnny looks at the screen. I know that guy. He's a real asshole. It would make. Sorry, it's too dark that way. He's a real asshole. It would make sense if he took them. He looks up at Simon. You're not as stupid as I thought. Gee, thanks. Would you happen to know his real name? I'm a douche. Beg your pardon? His last name. It's I'm a douche. Would you mind spelling that for me? Omaduce. Simon chuckles. I believe that's pronounced Amaduchi. I think you may be right. You have an address for him? We don't require our clients to give us their addresses. That's what they like about our facility. That and the poor security. That isn't funny, but it's true. So before you go off on a tangent, is there a card you may have filled out? What kind of card? To refuse becoming a member, or raffle, anything he would have put his real name and address on. No. Okay, it only makes my job a little more difficult, but not impossible. Simon goes back to his office and does a little research. He checks the phone book for anyone named Amaduchi. There isn't anyone listed by that name, so Simon does a quick internet search on his cell phone. He finds one person, Kentwood Amaduchi. Current address, which is in town, and only 20 minutes away. Kentwood's vehicle, a newer model, metallic blue pickup truck. Even the name of his fiancée, Raquel Standish. Her family is well off. Simon wonders to himself, how and when did they meet? Chapter 2. Simon drives out to the address. He took him less than 20 minutes. He parks in front of the neighbor's house and makes his way to Kentwood's front door. He knocks. Raquel answers. It's about time. Oh, you're not the pizza delivery. No, ma'am. My name is Simon Day. I'm a private detective. Good for you. I don't want or need anything you're selling. I'm looking for Kentwood Amaduchi. He visited the ye old workout facility 4 weeks ago. She's somewhat impressed that he correctly pronounced Kentwood's last name. So, he walked out with some of their equipment. So, he didn't purchase them, and they didn't. He didn't purchase them, and they didn't them to him. So they would like that. Didn't sell them to him or give them to him. Which fucking typo on that. So they would like their equipment back or the cash equivalent. Go fuck yourself. She starts to slam the door, but Simon pushes it back open before it fully closes. It just misses hitting Raquel in the shoulder as it swings back open. She's too freaked out to say anything. Kentwood is stopping his way down the stairs at that moment. Is that the pizza? Who? Holy hell, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck is going on? This jackhole is looking for the weights you said you bought. At the base of the stairs, Kentwood just shrugs his shoulders, pretending he has no idea what's going on. Kentwood Amaduchi, I have video surveillance of you at ye old workout facility 4 weeks ago, walking out with some of their equipment. As Kentwood is poking Simon's chest, screw you, they're called free weights. Simon quick jabs Kentwood with his left, striking him in the right eye. Kentwood backs up, shocked by how quickly he was hit. He checks his eye for blood. Nothing. Simon doesn't wait for a response. I could get the police involved, but I'm going to be politely ask you for the equipment one more time. After that, I will become upset. Still rubbing his eye with his right hand, Kentwood waves his left hand. No, 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 no. The police don't need to be involved. The lights are out in the garage. He points toward a doorway at the end of the short hall. Please lead the way. Kentwood leads Simon through the hallway to the garage where three tables are set up for a garage sale. On the center table, in the middle of the table, sits the free gym bag. Displayed in front of the bag are the weights. The decal of the gym has been partially scraped off. Asking price for the weights is 20 cents a pound. The gym bag is priced at $5 or free with purchase of all weights. Simon looks for the yield workout facility weights. They're not going to like that. Simon begins bagging up the weights. Kentwood looks as though he wants to say something, but Simon cuts him off. The bag was a giveaway, and as you said, they're called free weights. Simon picks up the bag and walks back through the short hallway. He doesn't stop as he apologizes to Raquel. Sorry that I almost hit you at the door as I came in. He leaves the house and walks out to his car. He pops open the trunk and places the gym bag inside. He gets into his car and drives off. Instead of going directly back to the gym, he stops at a 24-hour fast food drive-thru, orders three breakfast sandwiches, 6 hash browns, and a large coffee. Hopefully this is better than what I made earlier. He takes a sip. Not by much. As I wrote it, they'd go to a commercial at that point. At the end of each chapter, they'd go to a commercial. In my head is what I saw, which is why some of the chapters are really short. Some of it's just panning. I didn't describe the entire office like you get books like that spend 20 minutes describing a fucking chair. Yeah, so it's like, who needs all that fucking information? Unless it's an integral part of the story or something that is fucking really important. Oh, but it's the centerpiece of the room. It makes the whole room together. It's like, fuck off. Chapter 3. Simon walks into the workout facility with a bag of weights over his left shoulder and his celebratory bag of food in his left hand. He had finished the coffee on his way back. He catches Johnny's attention and begins walking toward him. Johnny looks up at Simon and then down at his watch and back up at Simon. Simon walks up to Johnny and hands him the gym bag. Taking the bag, Johnny looks at Simon in disbelief. What is it, Johnny? Somebody pissing your cereal? No, it's just I didn't think you'd actually find them, let alone get them back. I'm not as stupid as some people may think. My electricity. Johnny looks over the weights and is disgusted. We can't use these. All of the decals look like they've been scraped off with a screwdriver. That's the way they were when I found them. You want I should take them back and let Omaduchi sell them in his garage sale for 20 cents a pound? Johnny's eyes opened wide. What? Garage sale. He had them priced at 20 cents a pound, and the bag was at $5 or free with the purchase of the weights. Johnny looks like his head is about to explode. Breathe, man. In with the good air, out with the bad. Johnny takes a few breaths and calms back down. He hands Simon the gym bag full of weights and throws his hands up. You keep them and the bag. I'll go turn your power back on. Thank you. Johnny stops and turns back to Simon. You wouldn't happen to have an extra breakfast sandwich and hash brown in the bag, would you? Simon smiles as he reaches into the bag and pulls out a sandwich and hash brown. He hands them to Johnny. Johnny takes them from Simon's hand and inhales the smell of the hash browns. Thank you. Turns and walks to the back of the facility to switch on Simon's electricity. Back up in Simon's office, Simon removes the weights from the bag and wipes them off before placing them on a shelf near the door. He thought about throwing the bag away, figured it might come in handy someday. He wipes out the inside of the bag and gives the outside a light dusting. Out of habit, he checks the pockets of the bag. In one pocket, he finds a gas station receipt and a $50 bill. The receipt is for $20 in fuel, a pack of cigarettes, and 3 $2 scratch tickets. The receipt is dated the evening Kentwood walked out with the with the weights. 15 minutes after he walked out of the facility. In the other pocket was one of the tickets worth $10,000. Simon laughs. Little prick one. When will people learn to check the pockets of items they intend on selling? Being an honest man, he couldn't in good conscience keep the ticket. He drives back out to Raquel and Kentwood's address. Kentwood is sitting on the lawn smoking a cigarette and holding a slice of pizza. His belongings are scattered around the lawn, suggesting Raquel threw Kentwood and his belongings out. This time, Simon parks in front of their house. He steps out of the car and begins walking up to the front door, passing Kentwood, having premarital troubles. Fuck you! I wouldn't be in this mess had you not shown up earlier, or had you not lied to her. Fuck you! I admit the language wouldn't be suitable for actual television, but nowadays with streaming services and whatnot, it'd work. Simon chuckles. Fair enough. Nice shiner. And he continues walking. Once at the door, he knocks. As the door swings open, Raquel yells, I told you I don't. She changes her tone upon seeing that it isn't Kentwood. Oh, you. What do you want? She bites into a slice of pizza. 4 weeks ago, Kentwood used your debit card to purchase fuel, cigarettes, and some instant scratch tickets. He shows her the receipt. She yells out at Kentwood, You friggin' liar, you said you quit smoking. She looks back at Simon. What do you want, a medal? No. He pulls the ticket from his pocket and hands it to her. He bought this using your card, so technically it belongs to you. She takes the ticket and sees that it's a winner. Her eyes widen. A smile comes to her face, but disappears as quickly when she notices that Kentwood is now standing behind Simon's shoulder. Kentwood is smiling a come hither type smile at Raquel. Simon elbows Kentwood in the face, who drops to the ground, holding his nose. Raquel laughs. He lied to you. Simon explained. I should have said that first. Simon explains. He lied to you, and I highly doubt he was even going to tell you about the ticket. After all, I did find it in the gym bag that was out on the table for the garage sale. My guess is he had a friend that was going to buy the weights and the bag. It sounds like something he'd do. Kentwood standing back up, holding his nose. Honestly, I was going to tell you. I forgot, that's all. I'm tired of your lies. And she kicked him directly in the balls. He drops back down to the ground. This time, he's holding on to his balls for whatever he thinks they're worth. By now, not much. My dad and 2 brothers will be here in about 10 minutes, Kent. I told them I kicked you out and that the wedding is off. It would be in your best interest if you weren't here when they arrive. Writhing in pain, he musters up enough strength to squeak out, The place is in my name. As a renter, my dad owns the place and you haven't been paying rent. Consider this an eviction. Realizing defeat, Kentwood did his best to make his way to his truck. Raquel looks at the ticket and sighs. She hands it back to Simon. Here, you keep it. Excuse me? He and I aren't married yet, and as of now, it looks like we never will be. If I have this, he will do whatever he can think of to get it from me and collect on it. If I don't have it, he can't. Consider this payment for opening my eyes to how much of a shit he is. For that, I usually charge $50. Raquel laughs. Look, keep it, give it away. I don't care, just as long as he doesn't get it. Simon nods in agreement. I understand. Good luck. Thank you. You're welcome. And as he holds up the ticket, and I thank you, he pockets the ticket and turns to make his way back to his car. You're welcome. Raquel closes the door. Kentwood, leaning on his truck, still holding on to his balls. Hey, you old fart, that ticket is mine. Not stopping, Simon responds. Simon responds. You used her card to purchase it, so that made it hers. She gave it to me, so now that makes it mine. You lost out, Kentwood. Kentwood charges at Simon. Simon charges back at Kentwood, lifting him off the ground and carrying him back towards his truck. Simon slams Kentwood into the driver's side door and drops him onto the driveway. Kentwood groans in pain as he's writhing around on the ground again. Simon, being certain to keep his distance between him and Kentwood, stands over Kentwood. I might be old, but I've learned a lot of things in my time. If you ever make it to my age, may you be lucky enough to learn half as much as I know. Simon turns and walks back to his car. I threw in an extra S. Sorry. Simon turns and walks back to his car. He checks his pockets, keys, wallet, lottery ticket. Yep, everything where it was. But there's something else in it. But there's something else in his jacket pocket. As he gets into his car, he retrieves a pair of vinyl gloves from the glove box. He puts them on and pulls out whatever it was Kentwood placed into his jacket pocket. Closing the door, he looks at the item he pulled from his pocket. He chuckles. That turd. He put his wallet into my pocket. He tried. I give him that. A truck pulls into the driveway behind Kentwood's truck as Simon starts his car. Raquel's father and two brothers get out and look at Kentwood writhing in pain on the ground. Yeah, I should have edited this. Simon starts his car. He had already started it. So Simon opening the passenger window, tosses the wallet onto the lawn as he drives away. Before heading back to the office, he stops by a 24-hour grocery store to buy more coffee, light bulbs, and a new crossword book. Chapter 4. Simon finishes typing out his report, makes 2 copies. A fresh pot of coffee is being made. Simon places 1 copy of the report on his desk and files the original in the filing cabinet. He places the other copy in an envelope for Johnny. He was sure to omit any reference or mention of the winning instant ticket or the found $50. He pours himself a cup of freshly brewed coffee and takes a sip. Now that is a great cup of coffee. He begins working out with his new-to-me weights. While working out, he gives the ticket some thought. He figures that after taxes, he should receive about $7,000. Not enough for a new car, but enough to pay off a few bills and keep the accounts in the black for a while. 7 a.m. arrives, and in walks McKnight. I smell coffee. Is it fresh? Simon chuckles. Better than that crap you left me. What? It's about an hour old. Cool. So how did your night go? Mostly quiet. Here's the arm. How's the arm? Still sore. Doctor said it should be good in a few weeks. Right. One day you'll have to tell me what really happened. Maybe, but I wouldn't count on it. Okay. Anyway, we now have weights, thanks to Johnny. You mean the guy that thinks you're a moron? I'm sure I have no idea what you're talking about. Chuckling. Right. Since you're here now, I have a few errands to run. There's $30 on your desk for fuel. Please be sure to get a receipt this time. I will. McKnight's Day, Chapter 1. It's a short scene. It was a short thing, but if he did, I could see it. He, as I said, played out on a TV show. McKnight's Day, Chapter 1. Wednesday, 7:17 a.m. Simon Day left a few minutes ago. McKnight is sitting at his own desk, staring at the $30 Simon left for him to get fuel. He can't help but to mock Simon. He can't get a receipt this time. Chuckling at how funny he thinks he is, he takes a sip of coffee. Damn, that is a fine cup of coffee. I really should find out his secret. A knock at the door makes him jump, spilling some of his coffee. Damn it. Maybe there is such a thing as too much coffee. Nah. McKnight looks at the door and thinks, too authoritative to be a client. He gets up to answer the door. As he opens the door, what can I do for you this morning, officers? The two detectives are shocked. How did you know? The knock. They show McKnight their badges. The junior male detective. Oh, I told you to keep it light, responded the female senior detective. Yeah. Simon Day? No, Simon is gone for the day. I'm McKnight. The junior detective gets a look on his face that can be described as gaseous or that he's searching his brain harder than he's used to doing. There's a bathroom down the hall on the right. I'd let you use mine, but I've been out of toilet paper for over a week now. And Simon keeps his bathroom locked up. The senior detective looks at McKnight. You do know there's a grocery store less than 10 minutes away? I do, but unless there's a case to solve, I don't really like to leave the office. The senior detective scoffs and shakes her head. The junior detective pipes up, I don't need to use the bathroom. Peter McKnight? That's the name my daddy gave me. You broke your arm over the head of some guy in the park that was beating his kid, And by beating his kid, I don't mean a light hand slap or a swat on the bottom. Yeah, I was told that would be kept on the down low. The senior detective gives her partner a cold stare and looks over at McKnight and smiles. We don't mean to bother you, but Simon Day had gotten into it last night with someone, and we need to speak with him about it. McKnight nods and chuckles. He told me his night was quiet. On the contrary, he made 2 trips out to the guy's house. McKnight looks at Simon's desk. Where are my manners? He opens the door wider. Won't you come in? Coffee? Day makes a great coffee. When I make it, it's something else. And by something else, I mean it doesn't taste anything like coffee. The senior detective waves him off. We don't want to take up your time. If Day had a case last night, he'd have written out a report and left it on his desk. He has told me on more than one occasion not to touch anything on his desk. I invited you in so you would find it. The senior detective smiles. In that case, I would love a cup of coffee. Thank you. The 2 detectives enter one at a time. The senior detective steps in to the left, and the junior detective steps in to the right. McKnight closes the door as he nods his head in the direction of Simon's desk. His desk is the clean one with the folder on it. The senior detective, on her way over to Simon's desk. I'm Detective Fuller, by the way, and that's Richland. She picks up the folder and reads the note. For the officers that show up. He was expecting us? He never mentioned. Were you serious about that coffee? Yes, please. Black. Richland, standing in the corner. Nothing for me. Coffee makes me jittery. McKnight pours a cup for Fuller and hands it to her. He then opens the mini fridge and asks Richland, water, tea, or juice? I'd offer you Dr. Pepper, but those are Days. Richland declines with a wave of his hand and a shake of his head. Fuller chuckles. He doesn't like to share, does he? He does when it matters. Fuller takes a sip of coffee before reading Simon's report. That is good. Setting the cup down, she begins reading it to herself. McKnight sits on his desk and does a quick overview of Richland. 30, recently married, no kids of his own. Top percentage of his class at the academy, college graduate, blue-collar family. You sure you don't want it, something? I'm good, thanks. Fuller is a harder read. As a detective, that's a good thing. She's read through the report and closes it. May I take this? It was left for you. Maybe not you, specifically. Fuller raises her hand. I understand. Don't hurt yourself. You read it? No, as I've said, he's asked me to not touch anything on his desk, unless he specifically asks me to get it for him. Richland scoffs. What kind of partner doesn't trust the other? One that's been screwed over by people they've trusted the most? McKnight looks at Fuller, who is seated at Simon's desk. My best guess. She gets up from the chair and slides it back in, giving McKnight a hint of a smile. We're done here. The coffee was good. Thanks again. Standing up off his desk. You're welcome. I shouldn't I shouldn't have any questions for him, but let him know that if I do, I'll be in touch. Of course. Take care of that arm. I will. Fuller opens the door and looks at Richland, who is standing in the corner. Just a minute, Richland. A little shocked, he stammers, please, she orders. Without another word, he steps out. She closes the door and keeps a hold of the doorknob, and in a hushed tone asks McKnight, what do you think of my partner? He's green, and while I've broken in new partners before, he creeps me out. McKnight, also in a hushed tone, green isn't the word I'd use, and while I can understand him creeping you out, he couldn't stand still in the corner. Good thing he doesn't drink coffee. Your assessment, McKnight. He's IA. In almost a shout. What? Still hushed, McKnight responds. Your last partner was shot and decided to retire. The one before that flipped out and is currently receiving medical attention in the nut house. For the record, your new partner isn't green. That's a ruse. Back in her hushed tone. You sure? Ask yourself, why him? Why was he assigned as your partner? He transferred in from Boston, Sacramento, Salt Lake, or Seattle? Philly. And why the transfer? I wasn't told, nor did I ask. I just figured another rookie to break in. My lord, how long have you been a detective? 18 years? I'm surprised you've made it this far. Hey, no offense, detective. These just seem like questions you'd have asked. The fact that you haven't is probably why he's so antsy. Fuller gives it a thought for a second and looks up at McKnight. You might be right. My mind has been elsewhere lately. Tell him. Earn his trust. Be the partner you'd want. Nodding. Yeah, thanks again. You're welcome. She opens the door and in her normal tone, thanks again for the coffee, in his normal tone. You're welcome, detective. She leaves and McKnight closes the door. Interesting. Chapter 2 of McKnight's Day. McKnight exits his bathroom, drying off his hands. He tosses the hand towel back onto the bathroom counter. So glad I see light. I know, use your words. He tosses the hand towel back onto the bathroom counter. So glad I decided to leave the office for a few minutes. He chuckles as he walks over to his desk and sits down. Immediately, there's a knock on his door. Standing back up. Seriously? I just sat down. On his way past the bathroom. Better here than in there. He opens the front door. How may I assist you? A woman rushes in. She's been crying. My husband ran off with another man. I don't know what to do. Have a seat. Please, relax. I'm a beautiful woman. Why would he decide to leave me? Let's talk this through. When did he leave? 3 days ago. Here's the note he left. Handing McKnight the note, he reads it. Karen, I've had enough of you and your shit. I'm running off with Marty and will never return. Please sell my truck. When I get settled, I will have you send me the money. Kevin. McKnight laughs. She looks at him as angered by his laughter. I don't see what's so funny about this. My apologies. Has he ever been known to joke in this manner before? No, he's always been serious. Have you recently signed or received divorce papers? No, not yet. I have been contacted by his attorney. He said his papers have been filed and I should be receiving them by the end of the week. McKnight, being more serious, well then, here's what I suggest. Sell the truck for whatever you like and send him $5, along with a note stating, for having to deal with all of your shit, the scrapyard was very accommodating. And of course, you've sold it for more than that or donated it to a charity in need of a truck. And the $5 was just your way of letting him know you no longer have possession of the truck. She looks at him blankly for a minute, as if processing everything he just told her. A soft smile comes to her face, and then it turns a little sinister. She begins laughing, jumps up from the chair, and wraps her around McKnight's neck. That's a great idea. Thank you. He eases her back to the chair, and she calms down. I can't believe I didn't think of that. If you are in need of someone to buy it or donate it to, I could help. Oh, that's all right. I'll buy it. I never did like that piece of crap car you bought me. Okay, just a bit of advice. Okay, just a bit of advice about the divorce. She inquires, what about it? I'm not sure who owns the house or if you're renting. We own it. His name, yours, or both? Both. If you need a divorce lawyer, be sure they let you keep the house. This letter is proof he ran off and planned on settling elsewhere. She gets a look of despair on her face. I don't. McKnight pulls out his wallet and removes a business card. Here's a card for a great divorce lawyer. She isn't sure she wants to take it. Don't worry, it was my ex-wife's attorney. Tell them I referred you and be sure to tell them exactly what you told me. And be sure to show them this note. Also, if the house has an alarm system, be sure to change the code to something he wouldn't be able to figure out. What do you mean? Not sure what it is now, and I don't need to know, but don't change it to your anniversary, his birthday, or your address. I don't want it. You don't want it something easy for him to guess if he comes back looking for anything. Oh, right, of course, in an almost come hither tone. You're being so nice to me. It's part of my job, so please don't misinterpret that as I might be interested. My divorce is still recent, and my desire for a relationship has been crushed, and most likely will be for some time. She looks as though she's about to break down and cry, so he grabs some tissues and offers them to her. Please don't cry. Things will turn around for you. It's just, why are men not finding me attractive? I am beautiful, aren't I? McKnight pulls her up from the chair and lightly slaps her face. He barks, pull yourself together, woman. You know you're beautiful, and while it's great hearing someone call you beautiful, you don't need that kind of affirmation from me or any man. Here, take this note and this business card, and have the lawyer help you take him for everything he's worth. He opens the door. Go get him, Tiger. She steps out, stops, and turns back to McKnight, smiling. Thank you. Cool and relaxed? You're welcome. She turns and leaves, and McKnight closes the door, smiling, almost chuckling. Women. That's kind of a throwback to the 40s where the detective or police officer would slap the woman and whatever. Uh, I don't condone violence against people. I mean, sure, some people need a slap upside the head, but and it was a light slap. It wasn't one of them whoosh, knocking her across the room slaps. It was just a hey, because she's losing it. So it was like a little oh. Chapter 3. While holding a weight in his left hand, McKnight uses his right hand to paddleball. He's been paddleballing for an hour straight. He hadn't noticed that someone had come up the stairs and heading outside the office door. He stops with the paddleball, setting it down and drawing his weapon at the same time. He cocks the hammer and crouches behind the desk. You going to knock, Captain Broomfield, or shall I give you a warning shot? Put it away, McKnight. Let's talk this out. Give me one good reason why I should. She left me, too. McKnight smiles, but it doesn't last long. Well, asked Captain Broomfield. I'm still waiting for a good reason. $10,000 in poker. McKnight uncocks his weapon. I'm listening. Have you holstered your weapon? Tell me about the game first. The department has been after this guy that runs an illegal poker game, but we can't make anything stick. We will front you the money. Anything you win, you can keep, minus the 10 grand we front you. Of course, he holsters his weapon. You can come in now, Captain. The door opens, and in walks a mountain of a man. He's carrying a shoebox that he sets down onto McKnight's desk. We have the address, handing him a slip of paper. The knock code and password you'll need to get in are also there. The buy-in is the 10 grand that's in the shoebox. It's been counted 6 times by me. We'll need you to wear a wire and win. As I said, minus the buy-in, anything you win is yours. How many people playing? We don't know. Do you have anyone on the inside? Just you. Any other agencies about this? Not that we know of. McKnight lets out a sigh. They'll check to see if I'm carrying a weapon, and possibly if I'm wired. Most likely. You'll want me to figure out who's in charge and who else is playing and somehow get the guy you're after to open his mouth about things he's done. Of course. And make sure you receive all of this information while I'm still inside. And you'll be in a truck nearby? Yes. Well, make sure everybody's dressed their part and that it's far enough away. They'll most likely have eyes up high and on the street. We will be. Am I supposed to be somebody you've locked up or what? No, nobody locked up. Just a friend of someone that's played there before. They have a name. They don't use any. Good to know, I suppose. After all, it's really just for the money, isn't it? You're smarter than some people give you credit for. McKnight looks at the captain and gives him a very unenthusiastically yay. We'll need to fit you with a wire. No need. He walks over to the area Richland was standing earlier and picks up the bug he had planted. I'll be sure this also gets returned. Outside the address the captain gave him, he gives the coded knock. A response comes through the door. That was last week's code. I'll just take my 10 grand elsewhere. The door unlocks, opens. 2 men armed are visible. McKnight enters the darkened room, and the door is closed. One of them takes the box of money and slides it into a small door in the wall. A third man steps up to McKnight and immediately gives him a pat down. I usually get dinner before someone touches me like this. Nobody laughs. Talking out loud as if the room is mic'd. No weapons. I was told this was a friendly game. One of the guy guffaws. The door buzzes, and a third guy opens it for McKnight. Neat. He walks into the room, and the door closes behind him. Oh, great. A surprise player. Oh, right. The people in the room. Oh, great. A surprise player. I hate surprises. Chapter 4. I don't know. Sometimes surprises can be a good thing. I don't like them either. Me neither. The bartender interjects. Cool your jets, fellas. It adds an extra $10,000 for you to try and win. McKnight looks over the room. One bartender, possibly armed. One waitress, gun in her waistband. 2 players are plants. One of the players might be a fed that's watched too many movies. The other players look like they don't mind losing money. The place looks almost like an old-time saloon, except for a few modern conveniences. running water, electricity, and at first glance, 5 visible cameras. With a closer look, there's actually 12 cameras. McKnight walks over to the bar and begins munching on some pretzels. Bartender walks over. Can I get you something? Coffee would be great. He immediately feels all eyes on him. 10 years in the Marine Corps. Some things just stick with a person. Everybody goes back to what they're doing. The bartender smiles. I'll mix. Thanks. After a few minutes, the office door on the opposite wall of the entrance opens. 2 men walk into the room. One is the dealer. He walks over to the table and sits down. The other looks to be like the one in charge. He closes the door and leans on the doorknob. He stands there for a few minutes looking everybody over. He stands up off the handle and takes a couple of steps into the room. He clears his throat. I am your host, and here are the rules. Because we have so many players, we will begin with Texas Hold'em. If you run out of money, you're out of the game. If you want to cash out with what you have, go ahead. But we ask that you stay here until the others have finished. Edison will be dealing. Anyone caught cheating will be shot. He starts laughing as if to say he's joking. More seriously, shall we play? For 2 hours they play. The waitress keeps circling the room. At the table to the left of the dealer is the host, player 1. Around the table to McKnight, who is player 10, players 3, 4, 7, and 8 are out because they are not allowed to leave. 3, 4, and 7, the one McKnight thinks to be a Fed, sits on the far end of the bar. Player 8, the one McKnight thinks to be one of the plants, is seated near the restrooms. McKnight is down $3,000. Might I suggest a small break? The host is slightly amused. Why? Are you tired? Edison smiles as if he's holding back laughter. Not at all. It's just there are some smokers here that I'm sure are in need of a cigarette. The others have had beer, gin, or whiskey. Personally, I've had 3 cups of coffee. Player number 5. I sure could use a smoke, and I know you don't like anyone smoking inside. The host nods and waves his hand. Of course, 20 minutes. Anyone not back is out. Their money will be added into the pot of the first hand. Half the group goes out for a smoke. The other half go to use the bathroom. McKnight is in the half that uses the restroom. As he steps into the stall, he begins singing what sounds like Pagliacci. During his time in the stall, he lets out a few farts. After about 8 minutes, he flushes the toilet, stands up, and does up his pants. Stepping out of the stall, he finds that there isn't anybody else in the bathroom. He washes his hands as he finishes his rendition of Pagliacci. As he joins the others that use the restroom, they jokingly applaud his singing. Laughing, he bows. Thank you. The smoking group comes back in and heads straight for the bathroom. The dealer and the bartender have reset the table for the players that remain. Chairs were removed and place settings reset to allow for more elbow room. Everyone is still seated in the same order as they were. The host comes out of the office and sits in his chair. Nobody was late in returning. The rest of the players sit down, and the dealer offers McKnight the cut. Cut the deck? Of course, as he lifts 8 cards up and sets them down onto the table. The host was not amused. You call that a cut? McKnight smiles. Officially, in poker, a cut has to be at least 4 cards in either pile. For the record, there are about 10 in the shortest pile. You may not like it, but that was an official cut. Player 1 looks at Edison, and he responds, he is right, sir. Player 1 angrily sighs, fine. The cards are dealt, and playing continues. Now players 5, 6, and 9 are out of money. McKnight is up to $57,000. Another hour of play, and player 2 is down to his last $300. I think I'll cash out. Player 1 has a little over $20,000. McKnight is up to $78,000. Yeah, me too. I think I've had enough for one afternoon. Cash me out, please. He stands up and stretches. Nobody else moves. Player 1 is upset, but doesn't show it. He orders, keep playing. Give me a chance to win some of my money back. McKnight laughs. Does that actually work on anyone? I mean, seriously, if the tables were reversed and I said that to you, you'd probably tell me to go fuck myself or something to that effect. Number 2 nervously slides out of his chair and walks over to the bar. I said, yeah, I heard you. Tell you what, cash me out minus the $5,000. minus 5,000, and we'll each pick a card. High card, ace being the highest, then the king, so on down. You put up 5 grand against my 5. Just you and me. Everyone else, no offense, can fuck off. We get matching cards, we draw a second time. If we get matching cards again, whatever the odds are at that, we call it a draw, and I keep my 5 and you keep yours. What do you say? He stares at McKnight straight faced, then cracks a smile. Mind if we use a new deck? How new? What? A brand new, unused deck or an already open deck that's most likely marked deck? Standing player 1 gives McKnight a cold stare. You got some nerve suggesting that sort of thing. How dare you? Can you blame me? What's wrong with the deck we've been using? Hesitant. Well, no much trust to Edison, but I'd like one of the other players to shuffle the deck, pointing at the deck at the table. They can fan it out across the table and we can pick one. Highest point value card wins. Which player? We'll let Edison pick. Fine. Edison? He looks up the room and points to player 7. Him. He stands up and stamps. Okay. Edison switches out the cards as he hands them to player 7, shuffles the deck. Remember, if we match cards, we draw a second time. Right, the host says, smiling. 7 finishes shuffling and fans them across the table. Interesting, remarks McKnight. Player 1 and McKnight look over the cards. Player 1 decides on a card and slides it out. Ace of diamonds. Interesting. Look like I'll choose. McKnight looks over the rest of the cards. Why is that the only ace? The players move in closer. What are you saying? How do you know what the card he has? Are the cards marked? Have we been playing with marked cards all day? No, Edison just gave 7 to shuffle. Player 1 shouts. He's lying. Prove it, demands McKnight. If it isn't the ace of diamonds, I'll give you an extra 5 grand and my shoes. Huh? The other players move in even closer to the table to see the deck. McKnight slides out 4 cards, calling them out while leaving them face down. 3 of hearts, 3 of hearts, 3 of hearts, and the 3 of hearts. Number 7 scoops up the deck he had fanned out and walks over to the bar, inspecting the cards. A couple of players follow him. The rest of the players crowd around the table. Player 1, for the first time all day, begins sweating. I'm telling you, he's lying. You guys know me. Yeah, they probably do. And how much they've lost to you? Cars, homes, money, sex with their wives as a form of payment. Now prove me wrong that isn't the ace of diamonds. Player 1 looks at his cards, sweating even more now. He jumps away from his chair and runs to the office door. He fumbles opening it and slams his face into the door, falling to the floor. The card, still in his hand, is snatched up by number 3. He looks at it and smiles. Son of a bitch. He lays it up on the table. It is the ace of diamonds. Number 6 flips over McKnight's 4 cards. All of them are the 3 of hearts. McKnight reaches across the table and slides over $5 grand worth of chips into his pile. I'd like to be cashed out now, please and thank you. Chapter 5. McKnight is cashed out and is seated at the bar. He had stuffed as much as he could into the lining of his suit jacket, being sure to leave out $12,000 on the bar next to him. The waitress, knowing she's out of a job and most likely isn't getting paid, is bagging up whatever she can find of value. McKnight stops her. There has to be something of value in the office. She looks at him and smiles. You're right, thanks. She rushes into the office and bags up whatever she can find, sneaks out the back way without anyone seeing her leave. The other players are beating up the host for cheating and killing Edison, who is tied up to a chair, as to know how much he is involved. He is spilling his guts about everything. McKnight is listening to the bartender going on about his time in the service and how bad jobs are to find for veterans. I can't do carpentry, and truck driving isn't for me. Well, for some, and most veterans can go for that, I can't. I'd like to settle in one place and do something. The police burst in at that moment. Captain Broomfield is the last one in. Everybody stops in place and looks on as the police surround them. Shit, my life's gonna kill me. Captain Broomfield looks everyone over. Quiet! He sees McKnight at the bar and walks over to him. He looks at him quizzically, but shakes it off, reaching up and peeling the fake mustache off McKnight's lip. We have all we need, and he bellows for the other players in the room to hear, but we'll need everybody who's willing to testify to give us their statements. Everyone begins chattering at once. Well, McKnight, you did a good job. Thanks. The partner takes a step back. You're a cop? Private detective, actually. He pulls out a card from his wallet, handing it to the bartender. If you're in need of help finding a job that's right for you, Veronica Moore is someone who can help. She knows what it's like for veterans because she is one. She'll be able to help you find the right job. Hesitant, all right. Captain Broomfield grabs the card from McKnight's hand and sticks it into the bartender's hand. From two veterans to another, trust us, she's the one to talk to. He looks at the card. Okay, thank you. Captain Broomfield looks at the stack of cash on the bar. Is that all of it? It's 12 grand. I'd like to leave now, Captain, please. Nodding, he sighs. Fine. You want to report on this, or is this something I'm not actually part of? Chuckling and pointing to the door. Get out of here, McKnight, before I think of a reason to charge you for something. Without a word, McKnight gets up from the bar stool and leaves. Chapter 6. Back at the office, McKnight unloads the $71,000 onto his desk. He thinks to himself, where the heck am I going to pull all of this? He laughs as he looks at it. And how can I explain this to Simon? And am I even going to tell him? He chuckles. Nope. He opens the big drawer of his desk and stashes $30,000 in the fireproof safe. He'd have put more in, but he already had some items in there. He fills out a personal checking deposit slip for $200 and places it into an envelope. He walks downstairs and out to the bank ATM in front of the workout facility. He thinks, well, that takes care of $200, only $40,800 to go. He chuckles again as he walks back to the office. He stares at the cash he has sitting out on his desk and looks over at Simon's desk. He sighs. Fuck it. He grabs $20,000 and places it into the big drawer of the desk. He quickly writes out a note. Sorry I touched your desk. I know how much you hate that. He places the note on the cash in the drawer. He puts the $800 in his pocket and the $20,000 into a large envelope. He sits down and writes out a neat letter to the local children's hospital. He mumbles, I know it isn't a whole lot, but it should help out a few kids. Without signing the letter, he slips it into the envelope and seals the envelope and sticks it into his briefcase. He closes the briefcase and sits back in his chair and smiles. He sees the paddle ball, picks it up, and begins playing with it. 7 p.m. arrives. A fresh pot of coffee has been made. Simon Day walks in. Hey, Peter, how'd your day go? Smiling a huge smile, he shrugs. Nothing special. The police showed up and took the report you left for him. Had a visitor stop in, cry about her husband leaving her. I gave her some free advice. And Captain Broomfield stopped by for a minute. Oh, how did that go? He asked me to help him out with an off-the-books type of thing. He stands up and walks over to where his jacket is hanging up. Coffee is fresh. As he put on his jacket, he sighs. Broomfield had me play poker, so we should be all right with cash on hand for a while. I'm tired and have an errand to run before going home. He picks up his briefcase. Hope your night isn't too boring. Smiles. Good luck on your puzzle. And with that, McKnight leaves. Simon is perplexed as to what could have gotten into McKnight to have him act so strangely. He decides to let it go as he pours himself a cup of coffee. He takes a sip and is surprised. That's a great cup of coffee. He sits at his desk and ponders what McKnight meant by we should be all right with cash on hand, and why he would wish me luck on my crossword puzzles. He opens his desk drawer and smiles. Wow, I'll be. The end. Because the cash is there, crossword puzzle. It was like, code. Wow, almost an hour. I hope you're having a good day. This was a reading of McKnight and Day, Day's Night, and McKnight's Day by Fremont Boyer III. Horse on the back. About the author, born in Michigan, USA, Fremont always wanted to be a writer, but never liked to write. His first fully written story happened after Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, I put Ben A and Matt D, had their contest-like program called Project Greenlight. Fremont never did anything with that story after he wrote it. Tired of the same music being played at his job, he is hoping something pans out with his writing. My first book, my second one is McKnight's Week, or was going to be McKnight's Week. The person who edited it suggested I call it Case of the Missing Family. My third book, Anywhere But Here, I am really proud of, and I like that one a lot. Thanks again for watching. This was a reading by the author, McKnight Day, Day's Night, and McKnight's Day. As I've said, I had started to go back through and edit it, which I could still do and republish it, but don't really want to. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care.